And I'm Bill Boerum, chairman of Sister Cities International, and I've said to a couple of my co-panelists here, if your name is Boerum, that's kind of a tough name to have as a public speaker. But in any event, thank you all for this coming to this session, and I'm very delighted to be back here in Ireland after a few years ago visiting both Dublin and Belfast at the very first, and so far the only conference which Sister Cities International has had outside of the U.S., so quite a tribute to the many affinities that we have here. Also on a personal side, I would say that about 46 years ago, I thought I was marrying this very beautiful French woman. And however, in anticipation of this trip, we knew there was some Irish in my wife's background. So we did the Ancestry.com DNA test, and we found out, to the surprise of both of us, that my wife Nancy is 55% Irish. So our topic, of course, is business and the economy as drivers of sister city relationships. And I wanted to say that an important document that has been produced, and reference was vaguely made to it earlier, is this document called Measures That Matter. And at the leadership and the instigation of Mary Kane, this document was produced, which shows the contributions to the U.S. economy by sister cities relationships. So contact myself, Tim, or Mary to have this document sent to you. It's only a first cut, but it shows what we could validate and estimate through the analytics described, that there was a $525 million contribution made to the U.S. economy. So I think from the standpoint of a template to display about your activities, this would be a very good thing to have. So I commend that to your attention. I come from the small town of Sonoma, California, north of San Francisco. And one of the things that we talk about, the whole theme of this panel, is about business and economics. And we have 4 sister cities, Sonoma does, and we're in France, Italy, China, and Hungary. And those 4 countries, we are partners with the prime and top wine areas in each of those 4 countries. So that's a basis for what we have going and the relationships that we have. So I suggest that there's a relevance to that in what we're going to be talking about here. I think we have found when we've, certainly in Sonoma, and I know elsewhere, especially when you start new relationships, the mayors, city managers, and other people, council members certainly, all want to know, well, what is this going to be, this relationship? What is it going to be based on? And business and economics is a way to quantify the benefits to that city or that community. So that's what we're here to talk about this morning. So if you can refer to your program, I've arrayed our panelists here as to their pictures. And I won't necessarily describe the bios that are already here. We have those, you can look on them, but we will proceed through our program in the order pictured. So what we're going to do is to have 5-minute presentations by each of the panelists, and we will then have some Q&A if we have time, and questions, of course, provoking on the panel. So very first, Louise Feelin.
So good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Louise Feelin. I'm the Vice President of Global Operations for PayPal for Europe, Middle East and Africa. I also, as a former President of the American Chamber, I'm a non-executive director for Ryanair, and I sit on the National Competitive Council and the Action Plans for Jobs here in Ireland. And I most recently joined a board called VoxPro, which is a BPO company in Cork. So I suppose, let me tell you just a couple of things around PayPal. So PayPal, is at the forefront of digital payments. Last year, we processed over 28% of our payments through mobile. That equates to about 4.9 billion. So PayPal, we give people the access to money, to each and everyone, and we believe that everybody around the globe has the right to be able to move their money the same as anybody else. We're very fortunate. We have 179 million active users across 203 markets. And obviously that's really important for us so that we give that choice to our customers to make sure that we support their businesses. We have major employment both in Ireland and the US, and we have 2 centres of excellence in Ireland, one here in Dublin and one in Dundalk. We opened our second operation in Dundalk, first of all in Ireland in 2003. We started out with 25 people, and now we've progressed. We opened a second site in Dundalk in 2009. And again, we've about 2,500 people between Dublin and Dundalk, and we'll go to about 3,000 by the end of 2018. So I would really say, for us being as successful as we are, we couldn't have done it without the support of the Irish county councils, be it the local ones, Fingal, Louth, and obviously Dublin was hugely critical to our success. Again, huge engagement with the Chamber of Commerce's and including the chambers here in Ireland, Gina's team, and certainly, of course, the IDA was fundamental to us setting up in our 2 sites. Very important for us, in July last year, we announced ourselves on the NASDAQ as our own independent company, separate from eBay Inc. That was a huge exercise for us, but really important to the growth of our business, and certainly we are on the very right trajectory as we build this business. We're headquartered in San Jose. Obviously, a number of you are probably here today from San Jose. And we lead the way when it comes to diversity and inclusion, both in Ireland and the States. We're very vocal. We were very vocal on the last year's marriage equality referendum in Ireland. And equally this month, I'm sure many of you in this room have known that we pulled our expansion plan in Charlotte, North Carolina, due to a change to the legislation definition of discrimination that excludes members of the LGBT community. And we certainly don't support that. I'm very fortunate, some people may call it unfortunate, that I'm back and forth to the States probably 3 times a month. But I'm very privileged that I had the opportunity this year to speak at the Ireland Day in New York and celebrate the ringing of the bell to support, obviously, on the NASDAQ. Again, as being a former president of the American Chamber of Commerce, I've been hugely involved and still on the board of the American Chamber of Commerce to make sure that we have this strong 2-way relationship between the cities, both in Ireland and obviously in the US. And equally, that is really important to us. It's not just a 1-way street, it's a 2-way street, and we certainly want to make sure we support that. So again, I congratulate the Dublin Chamber, in particular Peter, for recognising this and having this summit. And as you look out in the room, it's great to see so many people feel the same way as we do. I suppose, for us, a lot of things is around the relationship. You have to build on relationships. That's how business people do. That's how life works. We build with politicians, councillors, officials, so that we are city-to-city connections. And they are really, really important to every business and to the communities. I would say, a huge part for us is multinational companies make a substantial contribution to the Irish economy. And again, we work back with the US, obviously, on a regular basis. If you think about it, for every 100 jobs that's created, 71 are created as spin-offs indirectly as a result of the 100 FDI. That is a significant number, and I can sit here and vouch for that is correct based on the fact that we set up in Dublin and in Dundalk, and we can see the knock-on impact that it has in the community. And to us, the community is vitally important. It's not just about the employees that we hire, it's about their families, their children, and their community, because we're creating a community as we bring significant jobs into Dublin and into certainly Dundalk. Again, huge benefits that we give our people. We want to make sure that we are supporting them through innovation, collaboration, certainly through wellness, and I think wellness is critical to make sure that businesses do support our teammates and our families through wellness. But also we want to make sure that we are bringing people to work for PayPal to give them a career, not just a job. So I would say, if you think about it, Ireland certainly punches above their weight significantly. And I think that's really important for us as we look at US companies have invested over $227 billion in Ireland since the 1990s. We have 70% of FDI coming from the US. They've created 140 jobs with 700 companies. and 3 billion in contribution of those companies to the exchequer every single year. So we certainly want to make sure we keep doing what we're doing, like today, building out the economies, but doing it through the cities, both here in Ireland and in the US. So I suppose, to summarise, I would say, you know, we contribute a significant amount. Ireland does. We work very close with our partners. We're family. I would consider my American counterparts as part of my family. We hugely support each other to make sure we are both successful. So I suppose, of course, it's not just about the economy. It's about the bonds. It's about the links that we have that are deepened through our history and which are really important to us. Culture has survived and thrived both in the US and in Ireland. I think it's key for us to make sure that that happens. Again, I suppose I would say I'm privileged to be here today. I think it's a great opportunity for Ireland and the US to engage together all the time, and it's an absolute pleasure for me to be here to support this initiative, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. So, and now Gina Quinn from the Dublin Chamber.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Louise. That was a really fascinating story of what is actually the real-life exchange of economy between the US and Ireland from the PayPal perspective. I want to talk just a little bit about relationships and the huge importance of the American relationship for Ireland. Let me set that in context from an economic perspective. Ireland attracts about 10% of the foreign direct investment that comes out of the United States. And that's only second in Europe to the UK, slightly ahead of us at 12%. So really, really significant, as Louise has said. The stock of US FDI in Ireland last year stood at over 300 billion. So it is a very, very significant part of our economy.
So the economies and businesses, they become more future ready through technology, innovation, collaboration. San Jose is ranked number 1, San Francisco number 2, Singapore number 3 in future ready cities. So sister cities, I think, can play a big role in developing future ready cities. So they're evaluated along 3 dimensions: human capital. A future-ready economy has people equipped with the right skills to drive meaningful social and economic change. That means training and education. Infrastructure is necessary to support people, businesses, and technology that enable process or progress over time. And commerce provides sustained opportunities for business and acceleration and innovation, growth, and profitability. Now, I know that Dublin is now, they're positioned to become one of Europe's top cities according to the latest FDI, with a heavy emphasis in software and IT. And the linkage between Dublin and San Jose, Silicon Valley is important in relationship to technology. So some of the drivers of the Internet of Things will be mobile devices, wearables, the environment, smart cities, healthcare, transportation, infrastructure, entertainment and sports, home automation, robotics, aviation, agriculture, public safety. So this is as profound a revolution as the Industrial Revolution, and it's a growing market worldwide, about $19 trillion. 19 trillion possible. So Samsung, Intel, and Dell, companies that I've worked with, teamed up together on the IoT connectivity standards, and recently Acer, Cisco, Google, MediaTek joined a number of prominent companies creating IoT standards. So the IoT is here, and consumers are experiencing right now and embracing the Internet of Things in their homes, the cars, autonomous driving, and many other aspects in their life. Done.
Let me throw out one question from here, and we'll see how much more time we may have from Peter. And that is that, of course, Ireland has been discovered, if you will, by so many large companies from the United States of making sizable investments facilitated by banks and other financial services providers. But as we all know, certainly in the U.S., that most of the new jobs created are by small businesses. So I'd certainly like to have the perspective, the 1 minute perspective, perhaps of each of you, and start down there with Sean, as to how can small U.S. businesses, what would be a reason for them to be attracted to Ireland? Because they, again, have the potential of job creation. Again, the big companies know where Ireland is. They know the facilities, the education background, and all of that. So what do we have to say to attract small businesses to Ireland?
I think it would be this is a great incubator place for small businesses, companies, starter companies to come in and start creating and collaborating. I think it's important to connect with some of the established companies here, like Intel. Intel is doing some amazing things already with the Internet of Things, and I think collaborating with Dublin with sensor technology, measuring traffic, measuring infrastructure and pollution. So I think it would be a great incubator city for small companies to come in and grow.
Right. Gerald?
So I think there's two big drivers. So firstly, we work with thousands of early stage companies. So when they're looking at Ireland, what they're really looking at is, am I walking into an existing tech ecosystem, or am I going to have to build it? There is a system here. That's really critical. More than tax, the most important thing ultimately is, can I get great talent? And that's what drives our clients to come here. It's not just engineers, by the way. It's great sales talent. It's great operational talent. So all of those dimensions make Ireland absolutely critical.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Donald?
specifically in terms of Belfast, there are over 9,000 businesses registered in Belfast. 95% of those are micro businesses, employ less than 10 people. So Belfast and the north of Ireland is very much a small firms economy, which works very well in terms of small businesses coming in. Just picking up on Gerald's part, the points that I'd made earlier in terms of talent, tax and technology all equally apply. The other things that we have done is that we have created a lot of accelerator type systems, eSparks, accelerators, Google Works, Skunk Works, which is about throwing people together with technology and letting them get on with it. What we have done in terms of a council is we have actually put those facilities in place, the infrastructure. We've just recently completed what we refer to as an innovation factory, 32,000 square foot of usable space for high technology, small businesses and a startup. So what we do as a council is we provide that infrastructure and support in order to help small businesses actually take the first step in the rung, and we line them up with venture capital and other funders in terms of helping them to bootstrap through their early start.
Very good, thank you. And Gina, what can the Chamber do to attract small U.S. businesses?
Well, one of the things we have done is we've created an office of a commissioner for startup, and we did this together with Dublin City Council. So that has actually been hugely important in pulling together that whole ecosystem that Gerard mentioned, to bring together the knowledge that is here and bring the companies together. I think that, for many companies, what they want to know is that there is an actual network they can connect with. That can be through the Chamber, through the Commissioner of Startups, and through that network find places to set up their business, find talent, find funding mechanisms, and so on. The other thing, and it's on a bigger platform, I suppose, that I would mention here is TTIP. It's the negotiations between Europe and the United States for trade agreements. And I believe that that particular agreement will have a very, very significant impact on small companies. The deals have been done for the big companies,
Right.
but the small companies need the regulatory environment, they need the dropping of tariffs, they need the free movement of talent and people, and all of those things, I think, in TTIP are really important. So, if any of us have any influence on that, I think we should be really supporting and encouraging those negotiations, which are ongoing at the moment.
Thank you very much. And Louise, as to payment systems, if you will?
Yeah, so I suppose to echo what Gina said, I think TTIP is a huge opportunity for all of us to engage in and support. And secondly, I would say it's about SMBs coming where they're being set up for success. So companies like PayPal, which we do on a continuous basis, is supporting small businesses to educate them on the technologies, the opportunities, And again, it's about making sure that they have that connectivity to people so that they actually are not reinventing the wheel by trying to find how they navigate systems, countries and locations. I think it's critical. I think Ireland has done a lot around Connect Ireland. I think it's a really, really great project that's been run to draw businesses here to Ireland, and certainly all of the large companies here and SMBs have helped those opportunities and created the vehicle so that they can build businesses here and sustainable business, which is really important. So I think it is about relationship, it is about support, it is about setting them companies and individuals up for success. I think entrepreneurs, I think huge opportunity here in Ireland. I think we're great at supporting them to be successful.
Well, thank you very much. And I think each of our panelists here will be very happy to continue questions with you, discussions, what have you, during the rest of the day. So a big round of applause for our panelists.